Good evening and welcome back to Open Studio. I'm Steve Leahy. How is everyone doing? How is your Wednesday? Yes, yes, good, good, good. Excellent. All right, we're just digging right in. We're working on this little guy right down here. Again, I want to stress this, and I mentioned this a bunch of times before. The first inch and a half from the bottom up on this painting, there is so much going on there. We are definitely front loading this. We're doing the hard stuff first. Once we get beyond that, once we get above it a little bit, things do go a lot quicker because there's just less resolution there. You can't see as much, so you can't. Again, to get the depth, you got to paint what you see. So if you can't see anything, if it's more of a pattern, then that's what you do. So it actually works out pretty well. All right. I'm working on this guy down here. So this guy's a little bit brighter, lighter, all around. So we're just gonna drop in the rest of this building here. It's very wet. Good. Yeah, excellent. What's going on there? I have no idea. All right. Soapbox for tonight. What do we got? I should start writing stuff down so I'm prepared for like epic soapboxing. Oh, that's terrible. What was that? That was just terrible. All right. I don't have any good soapboxes today. We'll come up with something, right? Usually what happens. Solve all the world's problems on Wednesday night. That's what we do. So I've just got black. Originally this white line was terrible when I did it last week, and I just continue to make it more terrible this week. So that's much better. So it's the same thing. The same thing as the street lines, what we just did there. I had a terrible, chunky, blobby white line. You just go in and carve around it till it's correct. So the other thing that's going on here is I've gone a little bit too far over here, or not far enough. I gotta make this a little bit thicker. So these brushes are great. These are the Winsor Newton Series 7 brushes. Awesome, awesome brush. As they get older, though, they start to split. I'll put it on the road. See how it's like there are two little points there? So this brush is 8 months old now. Usually I can get about a year out of them. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, depending on how much I do use them, and this brush has been through a lot. But that's generally what starts to happen with them. Now, it's not like that's ruined if I palette this off to the side a few times. That point goes right back, Plus, the other thing that happens is they'll tend to flatten out a little bit. So if I turn the brush this way, you can see that it's got a kind of a dull point, but if I turn it this way, it's got a sharp point. So that happens too. Again, it doesn't mean the brush is junk and you got to get rid of it. It's just it's starting to show its age. And again, for the hundreds of hours that I put on these brushes, I'm really just using the very end of this thing. So I'm asking a lot of them and they deliver. So again, it's like the Visionaire stuff I was talking about last week. It's not a flaw in the brush. It's just normal wear and tear, Bunch of stuff on top of this building, so we'll get some of that in now. And then this guy here. Oh, I know what's going on here. I'm like, the paint isn't going on there because I guarantee I have a fingerprint there. So we got to get that off. The paint's resisting. So we got to let that dry first. So I may leave that alone for a second and move on. It's a bunch of little weird roof thingies going on there. I think I could do that. All right, get this building done. No, because you know what? I guarantee if I put my If I put my finger on there, I guarantee that, you know, when I just touched it, that means there's a big area there that's got a fingerprint on it. So we gotta let that dry so we can get that off. And hope we don't damage the rest of the painting in doing so. There's not much else I can do until I fix that. So let's do it. I know I've showed this before, but I don't know if I showed this on this painting or a painting like this. So what happened was, again, I picked it up, I put my finger on a thumb or whatever, and I deposited some oil from my finger on here. So what that does is it resists the paint now. So when you try to paint on it, it just beads up like, you know, a waxed car, basically. So we got to get that off, because if not, I'll never be able to get paint to stick to that. So what I do is I have these blue microfiber shop rags. I usually have a roll of these and a roll of regular paper towels. And you can fold this up or do, you know, whatever you want to get it to, you know, small. Absolutely make sure it's clean though. You know, I've got these in the shop that I paint all over them. You don't obviously want to use one of those. You want it nice and clean. So what you do is, the offending area, you just kind of go back and forth lightly. Like, I don't want to scrub this thing, but I want to do this enough that I get the oil off. Two things are going to do that for you here. One, the actual contact back and forth. But what also is happening here is, because I'm just going over this multiple times like this, I'm warming up the surface from the friction. So again, I don't want to dig in. I don't want to try to like blast this off. I want to use the combination of the actual contact and the heat from the friction to remove that oil. And you can, you know, occasionally flip it over, do it a few times, and then flip it over to a clean spot so you make sure you get it all on. If you're lucky and the paint has held on, you know, you'll just be able to go for it. A lot of times though, what'll happen is, if you, like, I'll notice it, because the paint will pool up there where the fingerprint is, nothing's going to stick to that. So if I go and do what I just did on an area that had a fingerprint on it, I will pull up all the paint from underneath, you know, from where the fingerprint was, because the paint's just not going to stick to it. And that's okay. I'd rather repaint it and know it's attached there than, you know, just have the paint stuck to finger oil that will eventually, you know, fail. So now, so now I should be able to just go over that with paint, and it just goes down in a nice line like that. Again, it's a scary thing doing that, because you're gonna, there's definitely instances where, you know, I've got a good fingerprint on there. And then I've especially airbrushing, because airbrush will probably go over it better than paintbrush. So when you go to rub that off, it'll literally leave a fingerprint, you know, it'll like a resist, which is, you know, after you spend so much time painting, to just pull it off, it makes, you know, will definitely make you sad. But the thing is, you can't leave it, you know what I mean? Because it's a place for a fault later on. Now, will it fail? Probably not. You know, on something like this, these don't get handled. They're going to be under glass. You know, they'll be all right. But, you know, do you really? It's the same thing. Do you really want to let something go that you know is not right? And that's how I feel about it. I'd rather fix it and know that everything's good with it than leave it and hope it doesn't fail, you know what I mean, later on. What'll happen is, if it does fail, which is rare, but if it does fail, not only will the paint not be able to stick to it, but the UVLS also will not be able to stick to it. So you'll see like the fingerprint in the clear, you know, and that's totally uncool. That's definitely not what you want. So that stuff like that right there, I had no idea about. No one ever said, you know, as an artist, I mean, if you're oil painting, you get finger oil on it, doesn't matter. You know, it's the oil in your finger is way more gentle than the oils that are in oil paint. But if you're a watercolorist and you get oil on the painting, enough of it, it'll do the same thing. It'll resist. But still, you have to get a lot of oil on the painting to have that happen. I learned all that when I started interacting with automotive artists, because automotive guys, if you get a fingerprint on a car or bike surface and then you clear over that, you'll get all kinds of problems, So they're super careful about that, and I like that. I just adopted it. It doesn't have the same general impact with the stuff that I do, but it was just a great thing to adopt. It just made sense to me. So there's your soapbox for today. Just listen to other people to do things a little different than you, meaning the style, or the, not medium really, but for instance, the automotive end of it. By being around automotive guys and girls, I learned, how to take better care of my stuff, my paintings, just by default, which is really cool. And I'll say it again too, if you do what you do, like if you're a fine artist or a, automotive artist or t-shirt artist, the way you're going to find something new, something groundbreaking that other people don't normally do, is by looking outside of the thing that you do. So if you're an oil painter and you start looking at watercolorists or pastel artists, pastel painters, or, pen and ink, whatever it could be anything. You'll learn something from them. You'll apply that into the oil painting, for instance, that you're doing, and it'll be something that no one's really done, or not a lot of people have done, and that'll become your thing. So that's how you do it. It's difficult to find new things in a style or a medium or a way to paint just on your own. If you're kind of stuck in what everyone else is doing. It's when you start looking outside of that you'll really find the groundbreaking stuff, like, holy crap, no one thought of that. You know what I mean? Because they weren't thinking of it, because it's not in their wheelhouse. So there's your soapbox for today. Yay, I knew we'd do it. All right. And this building is, like all the other buildings, just kind of trucking along, just set the windows up, you get the basic building put together, and then you could start putting the details in, and you just keep rolling. There are only 2 windows there. Why am I doing 3 windows? Because I'm not paying attention. My poor gray reducer. I gotta get rid of it. It's gonna kill me dumping out 4 ounces of reducer. But I gotta get rid of it because I'm just making gray. Instead of white, I have gray. All gray. There we go. Oh, this is neat. It's like a little penthouse on this building. Are we focused? We are focused. I want to make sure I'm in the right spot. There is a very limited area now because of the way the camera is set up. There's a very limited area of this that's in focus because of how close you are and the angle that you're at. But to be this close, that's what it's got to be. All right, let's get the rest of these windows in on this building. So the top floor has a little, very nice little penthousey thing going on here. It's gray down there, and then there's a bunch of windows down here too. So we'll get those in now. The back side of this building is dark. This paint is way too thin, but it's okay. So there's a good example too. Let me move it over here. See how, actually I'll focus it on that. So if you look at the end of the brush, see how it's split in 2? So this paintbrush is just about got to the end of, because I use these paintbrushes obviously for, this crazy extreme detail. So when they, again, there's a ton of life left in this brush, but not for what I use it for. So I have them. I have a bunch of them. And again, I can still palette it down. See, it's nice and sharp. But as soon as it starts to dry out, then it kicks out again, and it splits like a, you know, like a snake's tongue. So that's, you know, that's when you know it's time to put it in the retired paintbrush drawer. And there are a lot of paintbrushes in there. A lot of paintbrushes in there. Again, I can use them for other things. It's not a problem. But yeah, but for this it becomes tough. Okay. Good. It's kind of messy, but we'll let that dry. Oh, there were more windows there too. What do you know? I don't want to do that. Yeah, I'm going to fill this in down here with just white. Because there are windows down below, but they're little square windows. Well, you guys can see them. What am I doing? You guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Is this dry? I hope. We'll find out. Yeah, that's good. Lovely. Good. Good, 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 good. Okay, these buildings down here, I don't know what's going on there. I'm probably going to airbrush this little group here. We have time for that. Good. Because there's a lot of little buildings right here on this corner, and I want to make sure I get them in the right spot. But let's finish this white building first. There's a gray something or other on the roof too. Nice. And I want to brighten up this edge of this building a little bit too. I went a little bit crazy with the airbrush on that. So I got to pull that out a little bit more. There we go. That's good. Again, if I sell it in the first inch of this painting, people are going to give me a lot of leeway throughout the rest of the painting, which is lovely. You know, that's, again, it's not the goal. It's not the goal to trick people. But again, if you earn that in the front part of the painting where everything's in focus, then, you know, people will just give you the benefit of the doubt that that detail continues on through the whole thing, which, I mean, it's going to, but where that really pays off is here. I'll show you. Again, up in here where this becomes more of a pattern now. This, you can't make out buildings there. Let me focus that a little bit, sorry. Oh, you're so close. So again, this, obviously this stuff out here is just like a pattern. You know, they're definitely buildings, but you can't even tell what they are, right? So the good news is, if I sell it down in here where you do see it and you do know what those are, people, as they glance at this thing, they're just going to give me the credit for you know, really kind of doing everything exactly the way it should be. And like I said, I'm going to do that to the best of my ability, but that little bit of extra really helps. All right, knocking it all around. In the meantime, this dried, which is good. This little white building down here. So we'll grab some windows on this. They're just little square windows, so it should be pretty easy to drop in. He says they're in line with these two. So the first one's here. Perfect. That's good. I like it. edge here, which is going to be tough because the metal is going to want to pull the brush around the side of the panel, but that worked out good. All right, that's excellent. I like that building. All right, so we got to do the roofs in the back. They're mostly red, and well, there's a white one in there too. I feel like I should airbrush it. First, let's see what we can see in the copy. I think that's the way to go first. Let me get another one here because I cut up the last one. Okay. I'm going to show you the copy, and oh yeah, you can see it. Okay, good. That's what I was concerned with, was that, oops, there we go. Was that, oh man, bumping this thing around. I want to make sure you could see the little different bits of the roof, and you can, so that's good. So we got to do one red and one white, or well, rusty color. So let's grab the cutting mat again. Get that in the middle where you can see it. So let's cut out the red. I'm going to keep calling it red. It's really like a rusty color. You can see it in the reference there. But getting this right, I could, again, same thing. I could like wing it and just push it around and put something in there and it'd be fine. But if you get it right, it's the win. Now I'm going to leave, I may not even have to paint the white square, this bright colored roof, because I've basically putting the rust color in all around it. So I'll be able to see exactly where it is, and I can hand paint that, which is good. Oh boy, that's a small one. It's really just the corners holding it in, because when you try to cut accurately, but you can't cut through the corners, you got to cut up to them. They just don't want to come out. All right, so that's perfect. That's good. So this will give us all the base for those like rust-colored roofs that are right there in those tiny buildings, and also give me the placement of the white roof too. And then I can get all the rest of the details just by that. This goes here. Yep. Oh, that little white building didn't come out too bad. It's pretty accurate. Good. Maggot goes on there. All right, what do we got for a rust color? Got black in here. Oh, I got red oxide out on the bench. That's good. Let me clean this out a little bit. Red oxide is going to be perfect for this. It's got that orangey color anyway, so I'll add a little bit of white to it. And we'll be ready to rock and roll. Again, I just got to indicate it because I can adjust the color with paintbrushes and stuff like that. It's just going to be a matter of making sure it's in the right spot. So we got a little bit of white, which you can't see because I'm doing that. But you will see this because I'm coming over here to grab some of this. This makes me sad too. Talk about waste of paint. This big blob up here, the red oxide that I have is starting to dry out in the bottle a little bit. So it's difficult to get out. So I was trying to get just one drop out, and I'm shaking it and, moving it around, and got a little impatient and like blasted like half of what was left in the bottle. I'm going to grab some red here too. This is Pyrrole red, because the red oxide is, the red oxide is very, let's see if I don't know if you can see this. It's very orangey. You can't see it because it's maybe over here. Yeah, there it is. See how orange that is? Yeah, we don't want that. Well, yeah, we do. We want a little bit more red though. There we go. that works. Again, it's just got to be an indication. It's an underpainting. And it's gray there anyway, so it's going to stand up on that pretty well. That should be good, he says. Oh, that is excellently good. Good, 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 good. Okay, so now I know where everything is, and apparently I missed there. So what happened there? Did I screw up? You know what I did? I bet you. Yeah, I know what happened. Okay, so you see the gap here. There's a little gray spot right there, and the line goes into that gray spot. The road, I have this line here in the wrong spot. It should be moved over a little bit. That was such a pain in the butt to get in. I'm not going to fix it. So yeah, so this one you can call me out on. That, you know, I left something behind, and I'm going to do that, because for me to block out that little line and then put it in again, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of fill in the gap here where the roof is. And that's what we're going to call it. Now, again, so someone from Tokyo is going to like, that road isn't wide enough. And I'll be like, you're right, you win. I'm sorry. Although, you know what? Yeah, I shouldn't. Nah. All right, I'll be fine. I'll just wing it. I'll just kind of wing it. All right, so now I need to put the line in. This orange color is going to change a lot. I'm just going to get some of the details in before I wash over it. There we go. Okay, now the white bit of that roof. Oh, that's what I wanted. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Telling you guys, telling you. All right, there we go. I cut up my photocopy again that I'm using for reference, which I got to stop doing because it's annoying. Okay, so the roof is really small. The white roof, I'll show you. There it is, right there. A little white L, upside down L shaped. Oh, okay, I haven't done that yet. Just had a little panic attack. I thought I put something majorly in the wrong spot, but we're good. All right, so white for that little roof. So that's going to be a little upside down L shape, which is going to be in line with the corner of this building here. That's the one I thought that was this building here. I thought was this building, and I'm like, oh, I did that wrong. We did not, because we didn't do that building yet. Okay. Okay, it was a little bit thin, but it's all right. Yep, 2 coats. That worked. Excellent day. So what color? Oh, it's gray. Okay. The roof in front of that, or just below that little L-shaped, is it like a dark gray? Okay, dark gray, dark gray. There's more of that brick color in front. We'll get to the front of these little buildings next week. Is it in line with that? No, it's not. It's a little bit lower. What did I do there? Oh, that roof isn't big enough. Oh yeah, it's nowhere near big enough. This one here that I just put in. There we go. I love it. Okay. All right, so there we go. So let's get you the full view of this. And that's what it's looking like so far. So yeah, we're just tracking right across. This is great. All right, thank you very much for everyone who hung out with me tonight. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It is the free and very potent way you can help the channel. If you know someone who would like to hang out with us, definitely pass it on. That's awesome too. And if you would like to support us in a more financial way, you can do what these lovely people have done. You can be a Patreon member or be a member over here on YouTube. Both will get you 10% discount on my site. And if you're a member here on YouTube, you get early access to videos like Tech Tuesday. No, Time Lapse Tuesday, the other one. All right, so there we go. All right, thanks a lot, everyone. Hope you guys had a good week, and I hope you guys have a good week. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Take care.